Hi, George Rogers here again from Mumbai, India with the Choice Skills Show. And today I thought maybe I'd just take a minute to share with you briefly why I'm here, because I think it's relevant to what we've been talking about in terms of intelligence. As you well know, the world over, many people are suffering from all kinds of health problems, some very severe, some not so severe, but very aggravating and a nuisance type of things. And so health is a big issue for us the world over. It's probably one of the largest industries in the world. And there are many different approaches to it. There's the Western medicine that we have in my country of America. And that medicine is very, very effective for many kinds of things. But as many people like myself have discovered, it's not always effective for everything. And so I've had to look for alternative forms of treatment. And there are many different kinds. The Chinese have their forms of treatment, including acupuncture. There's many forms of natural health remedies in America. Some better, some poorer. I happen to come across a man by the name of Dr. Naram from India who practices Ayurvedic medicine. It's a form of Indian medicine, and he's a master at it, and he's been trained by his masters who lived well into their hundreds, and these are people who have developed a very strong natural health, and he definitely is an example of it. And I was here last year. It was very helpful to me. I've been here again this year at his Ayashakti clinic in Mumbai, and it's been very helpful. And what's been so interesting to me, and perhaps even kind of behind this series of videos on intelligence, is that I've discovered the people here to be a lot different than myself in many respects in their lifestyles, and yet at the core so much very like their lives. So their lives are so very much like my life and the lives of people around me in their day-to-day activities. And yet their approach to things are so different. If I were to show you the electrical plug in this apartment or room, it's very different than what we would see in America. So at any rate, up to this point we've been talking about different theories of intelligence. Today in this episode I would like to discuss the nature of intelligence. The nature of intelligence. Now I will say up front, I'm not proclaiming truth, we're exploring truth. So I think what I'm going to say will resonate with most people, but if you hear something that you don't agree with, don't let it shut you off. Just toss that out and pay attention to the rest. Add in what you think would be helpful. Again, we do not understand all there is to know about intelligence. It is so vast, and when you think about all these different approaches to medicine, the intelligences and perceptions of how to do things are so vast and so myriad that we barely understand what we're dealing with here. But there are some things, and I think in this video we're going to start really getting to them. Some things that we can really understand that will be helpful in supplying the missing piece in education to your children. And after all, that's what we're all about. Teaching them how to make good choices. Choices they can live with throughout the rest of their lives. So let's tackle now the nature of intelligence.
Again, just to remind us that we really understand very little about what intelligence is or does. There's really no common definition. Interestingly enough, after thousands of years of recorded history, the best minds in the world over that period of time have never arrived at a common understanding or definition of intelligence. So my objective today is to simply point out 6 aspects of the nature of intelligence I believe most people can agree upon, which are helpful to us in understanding how to provide the missing piece in education for our children. To begin, let me simply point out that the word intelligence is often used in 2 different ways. One is to describe what intelligence does. It's the ability to do this or to do that. And it's also used to express the idea of quality of thought and action. For example, Melinda made an intelligent choice when she, or Bradley behaved with intelligence when he did that. First, I believe that we can generally agree that in the nature of things there are greater and lesser intelligences, both in terms of intellectual capacity and in the intelligent use of that capacity. Second, I believe we can all recognize that intelligence is capable of enlargement. After all, this is the sole purpose of education, And when you think about it, it's really the primary pursuit of mankind. In the early years of life, a child's development in intelligence is highly dependent upon the nurturing of those around him or her. And when a child is deprived of that nurturing, it can impair their ability to grow intellectually. In later years, it's dependent mostly on our own desire and motivation to improve or enlarge our intelligence. Furthermore, the development or enlargement of intelligence is not purely a cognitive process, and it's not limited to the 5 senses. And it seems to be even independent to some respects of logic and reason. For example, concepts such as serendipity, inspiration, revelation, all of those things which give us that aha experience and enlightens our understanding. Thirdly, intelligence is independent in its own sphere. For example, each person's intelligence is unique. It's very personal. Intelligence, as a capacity, is not shared with any other person. We're all capable of independent thought and action. We have our independent beliefs and motivations, and unique set of skills and abilities which are ours and ours alone. Fourth, I believe that we've all been able to observe in one way or another that intelligence can be corrupted. For example, the capacity of intelligence can be corrupted by things like drugs, where in partaking of them, a person literally fries their brain. In addition, the use of intelligence can be corrupted by ambition and appetite. For example, an attorney who turns to embezzlement to increase his wealth. And one of the strangest manifestations of corruption is in individuals with large capacity who seem to be vulnerable in many cases to beliefs of superiority and invincibility, which lead them into behaviors that are self-destructive. If you want to refer back to our episode 5 on why powerful men behave like pigs, you'll see some examples of this. Number 5 we've touched upon, but intelligence definitely is not limited to cognitive functions alone. There's something in us that gives us drive and purpose, and when we have faith and courage and commitments and will and determination, these things go far beyond just simple logic and reason. Number 6, intelligence is somehow related to light and energy. We find this expressed in the English language in words such as enlightenment, or in phrases such as "the light went on," or "I saw the light," to express comprehension and new understanding. And in the nature of things, we all understand that energy comes from the sun, all energy. And when we are energized, we are better able to function intelligently. And when we possess that energy, we are able to think, choose, and act more competently than when we do not. As I suggested at the beginning, I believe there's nothing sacred about this list that I've compiled, and I do not pretend that it's complete. I think we all need to arrive at our own understanding of intelligence, but my hope is that you will find this helpful in providing and suggesting ideas on how you might be better able, and in general how we all might be better able to help our young people develop the level of intelligence that will enable them to function effectively in a rapidly changing and increasingly difficult world. In looking at the different theories of intelligence, then, I'd like to just summarize by saying that, in my opinion, there's something to be gained from each of them, but little to be gained from being too attached to any one of them. I invite you to join me next week as I will be presenting a different perspective on the theory of multiple intelligences, one which takes a little different angle, but I think one that you'll find quite helpful in looking at how to teach your children the things that matter most. So I invite you to join me and look forward to seeing you then.